The following video was recorded by Kyle, and this time, the activity isn't coming from his basement or his bedroom, it's coming from the attic. Days before recording this clip, Kyle says he began hearing what sounded like children laughing in his basement. Not muffled noise or random creaks, actual laughter. And while that alone unsettled him, things took a far more disturbing turn soon after. One morning, Kyle woke up and discovered his utility room completely torn apart. Items thrown around, belongings scattered across the floor, as if someone had gone through the room in a frantic search for something specific. There were no signs of forced entry and no explanation for how it happened. One morning, Kyle walks into his garage, and this happens. Watch closely.
Holy shit. Well, this just happened again. It just happened. I was sitting out here drinking some coffee in my cold ass garage, went inside to go get a refill, and as I was coming out the door, it happened again. It was open and it just slammed shut by itself just now. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure I heard a rustling in here. Like right after, I heard something moving around in here. I don't know if anybody saw that video from the other day where this was all a mess, but fuck. I guess I'm just gonna have to get back up in there. It's cold as shit right now, but I need to make sure there's nothing else to find or there's no evidence of intruders or something. I don't know. There's been so much going on in my freaking house lately, man. I'm hearing all these voices and knocking on my door and whatever the hell happened in there, and now this shit's happening again. It's like things got so quiet over the holidays, and now the activity is just through the freaking roof. What did I do wrong?
This is the same attic where Kyle has previously captured shadowy figures on camera. Figures that appeared briefly and then vanished. It's also the same space where viewers claim they can hear faint whispering voices layered beneath the audio in earlier clips. In paranormal cases, attics are often considered highly active areas. They're rarely used, cut off from daily life, and sit above the rest of the home, a place some believe entities prefer because they're quiet, dark, and undisturbed. When activity centers around an attic, it often raises concern, because it suggests the presence isn't just passing through, it's staying. So if the attic is the source, the question becomes, what's been up there this whole time? Until we get more updates, this remains unsolved. This next video is about Michael Tisdale and his wife, who bought an old house in Louisiana built all the way back in 1896. From the outside, it looked like the kind of place filled with charm and history. The kind of house that feels like it's been watching generations come and go. But from the very first week they moved in, something felt off. Almost every night they'd hear noises coming from upstairs. Heavy footsteps, slow pacing, sometimes what sounded like someone stopping right at the top of the stairs, just standing there. At first, they came up with excuses like old houses settle, wood expands and contracts, and Louisiana's humidity does strange things to buildings that old. But after days of hearing the same activity and getting no rest, Michael decided to stop guessing and actually find out what was happening. One night, he grabbed his phone and headed upstairs to investigate. That's when he recorded this.
Alright. I can't believe I'm fucking doing this right now, but something's making noise up here. I'm gonna go check it out. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, it's alright. Alright. It's just a room, right? Okay. Alright guys, moment of truth. Jesus Christ, okay. Not crazy about this. See if we can get some light. Right? Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna shut this door in case the cat
If you look closely at the doorway by your left in the footage, something appears that shouldn't be there. Some viewers believe this could be a full-bodied apparition, and considering the house dates back to the late 1800s, people have pointed out that homes from that era often witness deaths inside their walls. Spirits tied to those homes don't always realize time has moved on. They repeat routines, walk familiar paths, and stand in places they once occupied in life. So was this a spirit attached to the house itself, lingering from its long history, or did Michael and his wife unknowingly move into a space that was already claimed? You decide. In this next video, Nate documents yet another disturbing escalation inside his home. And by this point, what he's dealing with has gone far beyond subtle or questionable activity. For those unfamiliar with his story, Nate has spent months trying to understand what's happening in his house. It started with small things: footsteps when no one else was around, objects shifting places, his dog refusing to go near certain corners. Then came the darker signs: waking up with unexplained scratches on his body, sharp objects being thrown across rooms, and a heavy presence that seems to move through the house with intent. And now, the activity has become impossible to ignore. This time, Nate was upstairs when he suddenly heard a dragging sound. Watch.
Hey guys, I was just upstairs doing some reading and heard walking down here. It sounded like one of these chairs being pulled out, like pulling it out to sit in it, but none of them looked moved. That sound was so distinct. You can hear the dragging on the floor.
What makes this unsettling is that this isn't the first time Nate has heard it. He's reported similar dragging noises coming from the same area of the house, over and over again. In paranormal cases, repeated dragging sounds are often associated with something attempting to announce its presence, not subtly, but physically. Some believe it's a sign of a spirit trying to manipulate its environment, while others suggest it points to something more aggressive. An entity capable of exerting force, moving objects, and making itself known through sound rather than sight. But the sound wasn't the most disturbing part. As Nate started walking toward the kitchen, a woman's voice can be heard saying, "Get in here." Longtime viewers quickly pointed out something chilling. This same female voice has appeared in multiple videos across Nate's timeline. It's been heard whispering, calling out, and now giving instructions. That repetition led many to believe whatever is in the house isn't just making noise, it's attempting communication. At least that's what it seemed like at first. But when you connect this moment with everything else Nate has experienced, the knife throwing, the scratches, the escalating physical aggression, the idea of peaceful communication starts to fall apart. Whatever is speaking doesn't just want attention, it wants control. Until Nate provides more updates, or until whatever this is reveals its full intentions, this case remains unsolved. Now, in this next video, a man reaches a breaking point. After days of relentless taunting inside his home, he finally packs a bag and leaves, hoping a short break will bring some peace. But when he returns, the house makes it very clear that whatever is there hasn't gone anywhere. Watch.
If you saw my last video, this thing chased me away last time. It's been 2 days and that's the water. That's gonna be a great. Anything else in here? That's gonna be a great water bill. I did not leave that on. It's non-stop. What the hell? Would you please stop? I told you I'm leaving. I gotta go through and close everything again. Every time. If you want my attention that much, you have my attention. What do you want? This thing is... do the doors. Would you please stop this? Okay, I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna leave for another couple days. I gotta go back for my keys.
What makes this case especially disturbing is that this isn't new behavior. This man has gone through this cycle before, packing up, leaving, and coming back only to feel frustrated again. Viewers point out that the behavior doesn't seem random. It feels annoying on purpose, like something that enjoys pushing him just far enough to leave, only to prove it still has control when he returns. Paranormal researchers often describe this type of activity as oppressive rather than explosive. Instead of violent outbursts, the entity relies on repetition, turning taps on, opening cabinets, rattling doors, interrupting sleep, slowly wearing someone down mentally and emotionally. The goal isn't to scare all at once, it's to exhaust. The activity in this house doesn't stay in one place. Sometimes it's the kitchen, where basic daily routines are disrupted. Other times it's upstairs, and on more than one occasion, he claims to have seen a figure running through the house. Fast, fleeting, never staying long enough to get a clear look. Watch.
This is too much. I think it's time to go. There's nobody upstairs. Get out. Okay, it's in my bedroom. Gotta get out. And here he is. Get out. I gotta move. I'm moving. That's it. And with that, I will admit, that was one of the scarier ones. So we're going to stay here a couple nights. And, yeah.
He's tried leaving for good, but multiple people have warned him that whatever this is may be attached to him rather than the house. And if this is the case, moving wouldn't solve the problem. It might just give it a new place to follow him to. And that's the trap he's stuck in. Stay home and endure the constant taunting, the lack of sleep, the psychological strain. Or leave, knowing it might not actually end anything. So what would you do in his situation? Would you stay and fight it? Or would you walk away, hoping it doesn't follow? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following video, Blake starts noticing something deeply unsettling happening to his baby girl. Almost every single night, at nearly the exact same time, she suddenly wakes up crying. Not the usual restless fussing, but full-on hysterics. Blake has done everything a parent should do. He's taken her to doctors, he's looked into sleep schedules, night terrors, muscle spasms, reflux, every medical explanation suggested to him. Eventually, he's advised to record the nights to see if anything unusual can be caught on camera. Watch. Some viewers argue it could be a muscle spasm or reflex. Others suggest it's a night terror manifesting physically. But many people are stuck on one detail that's hard to ignore. Why does it happen at almost the same time every night? Night terrors usually vary, and bad dreams don't run on a schedule. Parents who've experienced sleep disturbances in infants point out that babies often react to things adults can't see or hear. Whether it's sudden temperature changes, unfamiliar sounds, or something else entirely, infants don't filter experiences the way adults do. They react instinctively. Others believe the consistency suggests something environmental, a presence, a trigger, or even an unseen disturbance that occurs every night. At this point, Blake isn't looking for theories, he's looking for help. So if you're a parent who's dealt with repeated night disturbances, night terrors, or unexplained awakenings like this, what advice would you give? And what finally helped stop it? Who knows? Your experience might be exactly what this family needs right now. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house, and by this point, it's already past 3 a.m., the hour many believe paranormal activity is at its strongest. Up until now, Ian has deliberately avoided one area of the house, the master's bedroom. And there's a reason for that. Other investigators who've entered this room before have reported the same disturbing experience, the feeling of being watched while lying down, the sense that someone is standing just out of sight, observing them as they sleep. Some have even claimed to see a tall figure lingering in the darkness, motionless, facing the bed. According to local stories, this presence is believed to be connected to Fred, the former owner of the house. Watch closely.
See. So far, nothing yet. What was that? Dude, I just heard something rattle in here. It sounded like something moved. Fred, did you just move something in here? I think I just heard you. That was weird. Could you make that sound again? Whoa, 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 whoa. You see that? There's like a cold spot on the chair. Okay, I gotta get a good look at this here. There is literally a cold spot on the chair. It's like he's sitting in it. Fred, is that you? I see you. Thank you for showing yourself. Are you watching me right now? Dude, that's what it feels like. Like, not much has been happening in here, but I feel like I'm being watched. Like he's keeping an eye on me. Oh my goodness. Dude. Okay, this is crazy. Like, how in the world could that be happening? I mean, I guess there's a window here. Oh, dude. My camera is draining now. I better make this quick. But if you look at the window, see? The window, there's barely even a draft coming from it. Like, I don't even feel anything here. Nothing. But then, this is like... What? I don't even feel it now. Is it still there? Oh! Dude, no way. No way, dude. It just disappeared. Dude, the cold spot is completely gone. It's completely gone. What the heck? There's nothing here.
Cold spots are often reported during paranormal encounters, especially in cases where a spirit is believed to be manifesting or drawing energy. So could this cold spot be Fred's spirit waiting in the master bedroom, watching Ian the same way investigators claim it's watched others before him? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following clip, a man had just moved into a new apartment, hoping for a fresh start. But by the second night, things already felt off, and small details began piling up. Unexplained creaks in empty rooms, the feeling of being watched when the lights were off, and moments where the air felt strangely heavy, like someone else was sharing the space with him. One night, as he was getting into bed, he started hearing faint whispers. Not loud enough to make out words, but clear enough to know it wasn't coming from inside. When he grabbed his phone to record and prove to his friends, who hadn't been taking him seriously, the whispering stopped almost immediately, but the camera still caught something. Watch. When he reviewed the footage, he saw a shadowy figure, and what makes this more unsettling is that it didn't stop there. By the third day, then the fourth, the activity continued. Objects seemed slightly out of place, doors felt heavier than usual, and the same uneasy presence kept returning, especially at night. One evening, while recording another video to explain what had been happening, something interrupted him mid-sentence. Watch closely.
Okay, so this is my apartment, guys. So I moved here in around July, and at least I think around it was like last week I moved in. And the first day it was nice and peaceful, and everything was good. But then, while I was here in my bedroom, it's nothing. But all of a sudden, lately I've been having very strange, kind of some weird paranormal type stuff where the doors opening by itself. And that was actually the second night. It was the second night. Then I think it was around 11. I was kind of in my office, but I was going to bed, and all of a sudden I look at this weird looking creepy apparition that was kind of exactly around right in the same air corner. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh crap. So I kind of ran. I'm like, what the heck is that? And it had hands, and I saw half of his face, but it looked like white ghostly. I don't know what it is, but very weird. It was very weird. But then all of a sudden, it's just crazy. Oh snap. What the heck? What the heck? Hello? What the heck? Y'all see that? Man, that thing drove by itself, and there's no wind drag or nothing. Look at the fan. Look at that the fan working. What the heck? Y'all saw that, right? This is what I'm talking about. It's doing it by itself. Nobody there. The frick is wrong with this? And to me, sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, but the air ain't on. And it usually come on. But goodness gracious, that was just weird. But this is what I'm talking about. And then 2 days ago, I decided, because I didn't get no videos from last week when I moved in. This time I had to do the video it was on Thursday, and I had my tripod, and I was like, okay, let me put this down and see what happens. Then all of a sudden, here comes a weird figure coming through the hallway, coming through the dark hallway like it's crazy, right in that corner. But the camera flipped the other way. It was the other way, so it was actually that way, but it was in that corner. So it's very weird. Well, very creepy stuff happening in my apartment, but I'm gonna need some paranormals out here. Man, I'll let you know if I see anything strange out there. But what you just saw, I think that there was no. I ain't seen. I don't know. I did not see nothing, and it just opened by itself. Nothing.
Some believe this suggests whatever is in the space doesn't just observe but reacts when acknowledged. Others think it may be tied to the apartment itself, possibly something left behind by a previous tenant. Whether it's a shadow entity, residual energy, or something feeding off attention, one thing is clear. He's convinced he's not alone in that apartment. And if the activity has already escalated this quickly, the real question is, what happens next? In this next video, a woman discovers something deeply unsettling on her own phone, a video she has absolutely no memory of recording. Before you watch it, here's a quick backstory. She found this video exactly 2 weeks after someone very close to her passed away unexpectedly. And what makes this even harder to ignore is the fact that this was his home too. Watch closely. In the video, you can hear what sounds like a male voice softly singing, almost like a lullaby. The tone isn't aggressive, it's calm and gentle, and that's what unsettles people the most. Some viewers believe the voice is trying to comfort her, a quiet way of saying he's okay, that he's still around, watching over her. Others think it's something far more troubling, that he may be stuck, unable to move on, and this was his attempt to reach out for help in the only way he could. A few even suggest it could be an emotional imprint, something left behind in the house during a moment of intense grief. What adds another chilling layer is the time this video was recorded. The video was recorded at 2:59 a.m., a time often associated with heightened paranormal activity, a moment when the house is silent, the mind is vulnerable, and unexplained things seem more willing to surface. So was this a message meant only for her? A final attempt to communicate? Or is this something else entirely? Something that simply chose her phone, her home, and that moment in the night? You decide. Now, this next video was captured inside an old school by a man who works there overnight. Once everyone leaves, his job is to walk the halls, check classrooms, and make sure everything is locked and in place before morning. On one of those quiet night shifts, he started hearing sounds coming from the bathroom, the kind of sounds you'd expect if someone was actively using it: water running, movements, and subtle echoes. At first, he waited outside, assuming someone would eventually come out, but minutes passed, and no one did. When he finally decided to go in, this is what he saw. Watch.
Vámonos aquí. Mi trabajo es checar que ya no haya nadie. Apagar todo y cerrar todo. Es una escuela de noche. En Estados Unidos, que tiene muchos años esta escuela ya. Es una escuela muy viejita.
Your first thought would be faulty plumbing or pressure buildup in an old building, but you see, in a place meant to be completely empty, it felt less like a malfunction, and more like something replaying a routine that never really stopped. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In the following video, a man named David shares his disturbing experiences and how the activity inside his house has left him completely confused and overwhelmed. At first, he believed he was dealing with a spirit trapped inside one of his dolls, a presence that seemed distressed, emotional, and very much in pain. Watch this.
¿Vieron cómo se movió la cortina? ¿Vieron cómo se movió la cortina? Y no es aire, o sea, tengo ventiladores y todo. Todo está cerrado aquí. Así no parece que me ve. Pero así sí. Y así es como me acuesto. ¿Pero quién es Daniel? Alexa, enciende la luz del baño.
Muy bien.
¿Qué? Pero no entiendo por qué aquí. No entiendo por qué en este lugar. Miren. Cambio de posición, ¿vieron? No me había dado cuenta. Estoy así, volteo a ver y ya me está viendo así. Vean la diferencia de cómo me estaba viendo cuando recién estaba levantándome a cómo está ahorita.
After seeing this, it's easy to understand why so many people believe the spirit inside the doll is suffering. In the clip, the voice coming from the doll sounds strained and desperate, repeatedly crying out the name Daniel, almost as if it's calling for someone who never came back. Some viewers believe the spirit may be asking for forgiveness, while others think it's reliving a traumatic moment, stuck in a loop it can't escape. What makes the moment even more unsettling is the fact that before David left the bathroom, the doll was like this. Then when he came back to the room, the doll was facing David directly. But things didn't stop there, and soon, it became clear that David wasn't just dealing with a doll and a voice anymore. One night, he hears a noise coming from outside and decides to investigate, hoping to finally get some clarity. Here's what he captured.
Otra vez, trabajando. Son las 12:31 de la noche. Y otra vez. Y estoy solo. Ya me cansé, en serio, ya me cansé. Ya estoy cansado. Otra vez. Ahí se vio la otra vez. ¿Se acuerdan? No hay nada. Me subo rápido. ¡Ay, no mames! Se me cayó el celular. ¿Lo vieron? Estaba ahí. No mames, ya no sé qué hacer. ¿Qué es esto, cabrón?
If you look closely, a terrifying figure suddenly appears out of the darkness, startling David completely. Some believe this figure could be a manifestation of the same spirit, no longer confined to the doll, while others think David may have attracted something far more sinister by acknowledging it for too long. And after this night, the focus of the haunting shifts entirely. Now, every single night, David begins hearing someone knocking at his door, and it's becoming unbearable. Watch this.
Son las 4:16 de la mañana. Recuerden que yo me duermo con la tele encendida. Escucha, ¿no? Estoy tocando la puerta. Es que lo tengo que enfrentar. Pendejo. Voy a encender la luz. Para los que me ponen en los comentarios acerca de que hago cortes en la cámara o que se ocultan en algún lado, qué sé yo, personas. Mi hermana estaba ahí porque la estábamos cuidando de algo que le pasó. No, nada. Nada. No sé. Ya déjenme en paz.
This time, he sees something different. Instead of a man, it looks like a woman. At this point, David is completely confused. First, a spirit crying out Daniel, then a frightening male figure outside his home, and now, a woman. Many viewers believe it's all still connected to that one doll, that the doll may have acted as a doorway, allowing multiple entities or manifestations to pass through, each presenting itself in a different form. One night, desperate to distract himself from the growing tension in the house, David sits down to watch the popular sitcom Friends. But even Joey and Chandler's jokes couldn't help because he suddenly hears a voice, this time loudly shouting his name. Combined with the fact that his cat has been extremely restless, constantly staring at empty spaces and reacting to things David can't see, the situation becomes even more concerning. And sometimes when David checks the window, he sees something absolutely terrifying waiting there. A creepy, unnatural-looking figure standing outside after he hears someone knocking on his door. And this is exactly why so many people say you should never open the door when you hear someone knocking, especially late at night. Some believe responding gives whatever is outside permission to enter, while others think it's a test, to see if you'll acknowledge it at all, whether it's one spirit manifesting in different ways or something darker that latched on through the doll. Everything seems confusing, so until David shares more updates, this case remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo exploration through the haunted buildings of Bonanzaville. This time, his next stop is the church. Built in 1890, the South Pleasant Church carries decades of quiet history, but it's also one of the locations visitors find the most unsettling. Many believe the church is haunted by what can only be described as shadowy children. They're often reported darting between pews, appearing briefly near the altar, and then vanishing just as quickly. Some visitors even claim to have found small, dusty footprints on the floor, far too small to belong to an adult, appearing where no one had walked moments before. And if you know Ian well, you'll know that's enough reason for him to go in.
I'd just like to be your friend. My name is Ian, and I'd just like to be friends with anyone in here. Would you like to play? Why do you stay at this church? Where are your parents? Whoa. Hello? I finally heard something. Okay, I think I heard somebody over there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Dude, an orb just freaking went flying. Was that you? Are you running around?
During this moment, Ian manages to capture a strange light anomaly on his camcorder. Some believe this could be one of the ghostly children said to dart around this very church, briefly revealing itself before slipping away again. But Ian didn't give up yet. Watch what happens next.
Are you up here? Little boy or little girl? I saw you. Whoa, I just felt something pull on my jacket. It was like right behind me. And it was real low, like a little child. Did you just tug on my jacket? I think I just felt you. It's okay if you did.
At this point, he comes to a conclusion. Whatever is here isn't following him from place to place. Instead, each structure holds onto its own past, its own energy, and perhaps its own spirits. With that realization, Ian finally decides it's time to bring this part of the investigation to an end. But while Ian walks away this time, the spirits tied to these places aren't going anywhere. So the real question is, what happens when the next visitor steps inside? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip is about a family that lives near the gypsum coal mines and the Appalachian region in a home that has been passed down through generations. The house has been in their family for decades, but whatever lives there now doesn't feel like family. Some days the house is quiet, other days it's intensely active, but one afternoon, things escalated in a way they couldn't ignore. Watch closely.
What'd you hear?
I heard a help or something.
On the back porch.
There's one back there.
Okay, hold on.
And then it's like I heard Lila's voice say it, and then I heard Dad just say hey, and I didn't do anything about it because I don't know.
Sissy's voice?
Yes. And then I heard some whistling.
I need you to, okay, all right. I'm gonna stay upstairs because Gunnar is freaked out. He is freaked out. All right. It was loud, and it was Lila.
I heard Dad's voice just say, hey.
Yeah. So there's two different voices on the back porch. I'm not opening the door. I am upstairs with Gunnar right now. There's nobody out there, Michael. There's nobody out there. Okay. Alright, I love you too. Bye.
The little boy hears his father's voice, but his dad isn't even home yet. He's still on his way back. The mother immediately tries to comfort her son, and instinctively, she knows better than to open any door or window. As she tries to gather the dogs, she finds them in a strange position, but before she can even process it, she hears something. Listen carefully.
Oh my God. Why is my door opening?
A voice clearly says, "Help," and then the door starts shaking violently, like someone is trying to force their way inside. Then, this happens.
Look at the dogs. Don't. Oh my gosh. Hey, Sarge, get over here, baby. Come on. My house is really dark. Taze, leave her alone. They're all froze.
When she says, "Look at the dogs," many viewers pointed out something chilling. A voice in the background saying, "Don't look, they're mine." And when she scolds the dogs for hitting the curtain, some viewers weren't convinced the dogs moved the curtain. That's when the pattern became disturbing. There's voice mimicry, sounding like the father. There's distress baiting, using words like help. There's possession language. They're mine. There's forced entry behavior, shaking doors, and then the curtain. This doesn't behave like a lost spirit. It behaves like something trying to lure, deceive, and provoke a response. Another evening, everyone is asleep, and her husband isn't home. She suddenly felt like someone was in her living room. Watch. At the very beginning, a voice can be heard saying, "Here." For several nights, this has become a pattern. She moves through the living room, finds nothing, and finally goes back to bed. But this time, it wasn't easy to just go back to bed. How do you sleep when this keeps happening?
So annoying. I was just about to fall back asleep.
This doesn't look random, it looks intentional, structured, persistent, aware. And the fact that the home sits near old mining land and Appalachian regions only deepens the fear. Areas long associated with folklore about mimics, entities, and trickster spirits that imitate loved ones to gain access. So what do you think? Is the house haunted, or is something after this particular family? Speaking of mimics, this next clip unsettled a lot of people for one very specific reason. A man is alone at his workplace when he suddenly hears a voice that sounds exactly like his own. And this isn't the first time it's happened. Have a look.
Oh my god. Boss? Ikaw na, boss? Yo, kung siya nagtingog ko eh.
No one else was supposed to be there. No coworker, just him. So if no one else is present, who was talking? But here's where the situation crosses a line. He responded. And to people familiar with mimic encounters, that's the one thing you're never supposed to do. Responding is often believed to be a form of acknowledgement, a signal that whatever is mimicking you has been noticed, heard, and invited into the interaction. Viewers pointed out that mimics rarely appear once. They repeat, they observe, they test boundaries. And once you answer back, it's like confirming, "Yes, I hear you." That's why so many people reacted strongly to this clip. Not because of what was heard, but because of what was said back. Have you ever responded to a mimic, and what happened after? This next clip was recorded inside a man's studio, a place that had already started raising questions long before the morning he made this video. One night, he realized he'd forgotten his phone charger and went back to grab it. As he approached the entrance, something peeked through the blinds, but when he went in, there was nothing. Then, another incident. Early one morning, around 5 a.m., his uncle, who lives on the other side of the studio, called him, saying the bathroom door had been making noise all night, loud enough to keep him awake. So he went over very early in the morning, and this is what he found.
Miren. Miren cómo se abre la persiana. Dicen un hilo. ¿Cómo puede hacer un hilo a eso? Sinceramente, miren. Miren. No me chingues. No me chingues. Eso ya. No, espérate. No, ya me tengo que ir. Es muy temprano para estas chingaderas. Miren, o sea, dicen un hilo. Ah, chinga tu madre, a ver cuál hilo puedo abrir y cerrar así de lado a lado. Miren, cómo se mueve de aquí y de allá. Miren.
Once again, the blinds were moving on their own. When he finally gathered the courage to step inside, he checked every corner, every room, expecting to find someone hiding. Watch closely.
Baño está bien helado. Mire. Lo que se alcanza a ver es... Mira. ¿Qué escuchan? Sí, como una risa.
There was still no sign of a break-in, no open windows, and no disturbed locks, but he heard a strange laughter. After reviewing this video, viewers started focusing on one specific detail: the mirror in the bathroom. Many believe mirrors can act as focal points, not just reflective surfaces, but places where activity concentrates. Some speculate whatever peeked through the blinds that first night wasn't trying to enter, it was already inside. Others think the repeated movement of the blinds and the bathroom disturbances suggests something attempting to be seen, but never fully revealing itself. A presence that watches, listens, and reacts when noticed. And the laughter? That's what unsettled people the most, because laughter implies awareness. It implies intent. So was this a prank, an intruder who somehow vanished without a trace, or something else entirely? You decide. Now this next video is about a man named Steve, someone who claims he's been gifted with sight. According to him, he's able to see and communicate with spirits, often holding conversations to learn their stories, and sometimes just talking with them casually. One night, while recording, he captured this. Watch closely.
100% proof of spirits right here.
Hi. How are you doing? Boy, are you a beauty. Boy, are you a beauty. Oh boy. And you faded right away. That was amazing.
In the footage, a clearly defined orb appears, before slowly fading out of view. After seeing this video, skeptics immediately jump to dust or insects, but many in the paranormal community strongly believe orbs aren't dust, insects, or light reflections, especially when they move in controlled, deliberate patterns like this. Dust doesn't change direction, bugs don't fade in and out, and random light artifacts don't appear solid, move steadily, then disappear as if exiting the frame. Believers say orbs are one of the earliest and weakest forms of manifestation, energy gathering just enough strength to be seen, but not enough to fully take shape. Others believe they're residual spirits, lingering fragments of consciousness passing through a space rather than actively haunting it. Some even suggest that when someone who's sensitive or gifted is present, spirits may choose to appear in this form, almost like a cautious introduction rather than a full manifestation. Given Steve's history of communication and the timing of the appearance, a lot of people believe this wasn't accidental. So what do you think? Is this just dust catching the light at the perfect angle, or something aware choosing to be seen? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. In this next clip, Kyle shares another disturbing update from inside his home. This time, it's not the familiar sound of children's voices coming from the attic. Something else has started happening. Kyle says he keeps noticing shadows moving just out of the corner of his eye, and always disappearing the moment he turns to look directly at them. One night he saw the shadow again, so he put on his camera hoping to finally catch whatever it was. Watch closely. the camera captures a voice, and it unmistakably sounds like a child. When a shadow phase is followed by voices, it's often seen as a sign that whatever is present is becoming more aware of the person living in the space. And children's voices? Those raise even more questions. Some believe spirits mimic children to appear harmless, while others think these voices could be residual sounds, replaying moments tied to the house's past. Kyle's friends believe this is the same presence he's been dealing with all along, now moving beyond isolated spaces like the attic or basement and into the rest of the house. Others think the shadows suggest something different, so the question now is, are the shadows and the voice connected, or has something new entered the house, slowly making itself known? Either way, this situation feels like it's evolving, and not in a good way. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the infamous Boyd house, and this time, he heads straight for the attic. Watch closely.
I just come here to be your friend and to play games, talk. Could you tell me which one of these toys is your favorite toy? Could you describe it? Did you die in this house? All right, let's listen again. That was a dark question to ask after your favorite toy. Did you die here? You don't have to be shy. I just come here to be your friend. Which one of these toys is your favorite toy? Could you describe it? Whoa, 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 whoa. I just heard a whisper. Let's listen to that again. Which one of these toys is your favorite toy? Could you describe it? Dude, it sounds like he's saying seesaw. Like seesaw, like a horse seesaw or something like that, right? Oh, dude, that was awesome. Oh my gosh, okay, I gotta listen to the rest yet. Did you die in this house? Whoa. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, there was something like right at the end there. Dude, I don't know what he's saying, but he's definitely answering the last question. Did you die here? I don't know what exactly they said, but oh, dude, that gave me chills. Oh my gosh, I hope they didn't die here.
What makes this unsettling is the history. Everyone knows Fred and Minnie Ehart, the parents, both passed away inside this house. But the children? That part of the story is far less clear. Some researchers believe the attic may have been a space where the children spent much of their time, playing, hiding, or even being disciplined. Others think the sounds could be residual energy, moments replaying themselves over and over, trapped in the structure of the house. Whether it's lingering family energy or something else entirely, one thing is certain. The attic of the Boyd house may be holding on to more than anyone realizes. And whatever's up there hasn't finished telling its story. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was shared by a woman who's genuinely searching for answers, hoping that someone out there might recognize the signs of what she's dealing with. For a while now, she's noticed a very specific and unsettling pattern involving her dog. Almost every single day, around the same time, her 6-month-old puppy suddenly starts barking intensely at one exact direction in the house. Not just casual barking, but focused, alert, almost defensive barking. What makes this strange is that about 5 minutes later, he suddenly stops, goes completely quiet, and then immediately looks around for her as if checking whether she noticed it too. This routine has repeated itself night after night, always the same direction, always the same behavior. One evening, she was sitting calmly when her dog climbed onto her lap, chewing on a bone, relaxed and content. Suddenly, this happened. Some believe he could be reacting to subtle sounds we can't hear, like changes in air pressure, pipes, or even wildlife outside the walls. But others weren't convinced, especially because of how consistent the timing is and how focused his attention seems to be. As for solutions, viewers offered a wide range of ideas. Some advised checking the space thoroughly for logical explanations, vents, rodents, or structural noises, just to rule them out. A few suggested cleansing the space, whether spiritually or simply by changing the energy in the room, while many stressed one thing above all else: pay attention to the dog. Because whatever he's reacting to it every night, at the same time, in the same place. And until she figures out why, this situation remains deeply unsettling and very much unexplained. This next clip was recorded inside Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania, a location that many locals already avoid after dark. The mansion has long been surrounded by rumors, stories of former residents who never really left, reports of unexplained footsteps echoing through empty hallways, doors slamming on their own, and voices heard coming from rooms no one has entered in years. Some say the upper floors are the worst, especially the third floor, where people claim the air suddenly feels heavier and breathing becomes difficult for no reason. On March 29, 2025, a group of urban explorers decided to investigate the mansion for themselves. Despite knowing its reputation, they went in prepared, setting up multiple cameras throughout the house before settling in for the night. While placing equipment in other areas of the mansion, a loud bang suddenly echoed through the building, sharp enough to stop everyone in their tracks. When they checked the footage, they realized the sound came from the bathroom on the third floor, where one of the cameras had been left running. Watch closely. Skeptics argued it could be old pipes, structural shifts, or even wind, but that explanation doesn't easily account for the voice, the pacing of the footsteps, or the very human-sounding breath caught on audio. And considering this happened on the third floor, an area already known for activity, many believe the explorers may have wandered into a space where whatever lingers there doesn't like being watched. So, was this just the mansion settling? Or did Selma Mansion make it very clear that they weren't alone that night? You decide. In this next video, a man believes he's being tormented by something far more sinister than a simple haunting, something he's convinced is a demon living inside his home. And honestly, after seeing everything he's documented, it's hard not to understand why he feels that way. For months now, he says he'll leave the house for work or errands, only to return and find it completely trashed. Tables flipped upside down, chairs thrown across rooms, kitchen equipment scattered across the floor as if someone deliberately went through the house in a rage. One night, while recording a video to explain what he's been experiencing, things suddenly escalated. Watch this.
Guys, so it's been very horrible. I have been experiencing some non-stop shit. You gotta be kidding me. What the shit. What the is that sound? What the They know did not just move. I know that did not just move, y'all. Shit! Oh shit! In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, I ask every demon to leave my house immediately. Immediately. I want every demon to leave this house immediately. Immediately. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Leave my house now. The was that? I swear to God, and guys, this is crazy. Swear to God. What the shit! Holy shit! Oh shit! Holy shit! Holy I'm getting the out of here. No shit.
This isn't subtle movement or quiet noises in the background. When something moves, it moves hard. If it rocks a chair, it does so violently. If it rattles a door, it slams and shakes it with force. Viewers quickly began weighing in with their theories. Some believe this could be a case of a highly aggressive poltergeist feeding off fear and emotional stress. Others argue that the destructive nature, the escalation, and the way the activity responds directly to him speaking points to something darker, possibly a demonic attachment rather than a spirit tied to the house itself. As for solutions, people urged him to stop engaging altogether to avoid provoking whatever it is. Some warned that labeling it a demon could make things worse, but others believe he may already be past that point. So what do you think? Is this truly a demon, or is there another explanation behind the violence in his home? Now, doll collectors are often misunderstood. To most people, collecting dolls sounds harmless, nostalgic, even comforting. But what many don't realize is that some collectors actively seek out dolls with history. Dolls that were loved intensely, abandoned suddenly, passed through multiple owners, or tied to trauma. In this clip, a woman who openly documents her collection of dolls with deep and unsettling backstories shares what happened after acquiring a particularly infamous one. The doll is known as Raggedy Ann Janet, located in the UK and already surrounded by disturbing rumors long before she ever laid eyes on it. Previous owners had reportedly complained about unexplained noises, object shifting, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched, especially at night. Despite the warnings, she felt drawn to Janet and eventually brought the doll into her home. Almost immediately, she began noticing classic poltergeist-style activity. Objects would move without explanation. Doors creaked open on their own, and the most unsettling part, these events didn't feel random. They felt deliberate, as if something was testing boundaries, pushing limits, and making its presence known. Despite knowing all these, she wanted to confirm.
So Janet's been with us for a few days. Bobby's dropped her off. A few things have been moving around this room lately. Janet, is it you that's doing it? Oh my god, thank you.
For her, the signs were enough. Janet wasn't just another piece in her collection. Something about this doll felt active, aware, and intrusive. And now the question remains, is Janet simply an object carrying residual energy from past owners? Or did bringing her home invite something that was never meant to follow? Either way, the activity surrounding this doll has left viewers deeply unsettled. And until more updates are shared, this case continues to raise an uncomfortable question about how much of the past we unknowingly invite into our homes. This next video is an update from the same man who previously shared how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought a set of old toys home. Watch closely.
Se sigue escuchando, la verdad ya no soporto estar aquí. Ya no aguanto. ¿Qué será? No hay nada, raza. Esto ya se está saliendo de control, raza. Ya no puedo estar aquí, raza.
As he moves through the apartment trying to locate the source of the noise, a figure is briefly caught on camera. Even though something in him feels like the toys are connected, he wants clearer proof, something undeniable. But viewers say the signs have been there all along. For example, take a look at one of the nights he couldn't sleep at all.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, raza. Ay.
What worries him the most is that whatever's in his apartment doesn't seem anchored to a single location. It chooses different areas, almost like it's rotating spots. One night, it was his bedroom. Watch.
Se escucha que están rasguñando abajo de la cama. No hay nadie, raza, a la madre. ¿Qué rollo? ¿Qué está pasando?
Something was scratching under his bed, and while some suggested the mirror near his bed could be acting as a trigger, that theory started to fall apart after this next clip surfaced.
Quieren prender la luz, raza. Esto está saliendo de control, raza. No se escucha que le pegan al tanque allá afuera. Esto se está saliendo mucho de control, raza. No sé qué está pasando, la verdad, raza. Pero a ese tanque le pegan. Ya es el segundo día desde que están pasando estas cosas y alguien que me pueda ayudar, déjenme en los comentarios, por favor. Gente, esto ya se salió de control, gente. Ya no puedo más aquí, gente. Ayuda. ¿Qué quieres? Déjenme en paz. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? ¿Qué quieres?
At this point, the activity is no longer subtle. The voice he hears at night is clearer and deeply unsettling. He's reached the point where he locks himself in one part of the apartment at night, afraid of what he might encounter if he walks into another room. And what makes this even more disturbing is the pattern. Whatever's in the apartment seems to choose where it stays. For days, it stayed in the kitchen, then it shifted to the laundry room. Now, it appears to have claimed the bathroom.
Están tocando la puerta del baño. Desde que compré este espejo están pasando todas las cosas.
He's asking for help, desperately, but most viewers are saying the answer is already right in front of him. Get rid of the dolls. But is it really that simple? Are the dolls the source? Or are they just vessels for something that was already looking for a way in? In this next clip, a woman named Haley set out on what was supposed to be a calm, grounding escape into the Appalachian wilderness, a place known for its beauty, isolation, and deeply rooted folklore. But not long into her walk, something felt off.
I just realized this is like the perfect place to come and sit and smoke. Cause look at this. Sit right here. Hell yeah. This is my view. Y'all, a cigarette right now. I don't even smoke cigarettes, but it warm you up, you know? I'm cold. I felt like there's somebody behind me, but cool. So this is as close as I'm going to get, but y'all can see it's like angled and it goes into the mountain. It doesn't look like it, but it's a little bit more deeper here. My feet would get wet, and these shoes, yeah, no, and it's cold. But yeah, I'm about to head out of here because my feelings been I don't know, it don't feel right now. But yeah, I don't have service. No, this is the worst part about exploring here is when you get like that when you get the feeling that you're being watched or followed. You can't, it's a little bit of a ways to get back to where you came from. Over there.
If you listen carefully, a voice can be heard quietly saying, "Hey." What makes this moment especially unsettling is that the voice sounds disturbingly similar to Hallie's own. At the time she was recording, she didn't hear it at all. Instead, what she felt was something harder to ignore, a sudden sensation that someone was standing directly behind her. In paranormal folklore, especially in Appalachian legends, encounters like this are often linked to something known as a mimic, entities said to imitate human voices to lure people into responding. That's why many believe the worst thing you can do in situations like this is acknowledge the voice, especially out loud. Responding is believed to give whatever's their permission, or at the very least confirmation that you heard it. Some say mimics rely on familiarity, using your own voice or the voice of someone you trust to lower your guard. Others believe they test boundaries first, watching how you react before escalating, and then there are those who think these encounters aren't meant to chase you, but to mark you. So, was this just an audio coincidence paired with anxiety in an isolated place? Or did Hallie narrowly avoid something far more disturbing by trusting her instincts and leaving when she did? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In the following video, Kyle was filming, talking excitedly about publishing his upcoming horror novel, when something happened that instantly shifted the tone. Watch.
Two agents, they got enough for me. Holy shit. That just opened by itself. Okay. Yo. That just opened. It just opened by itself. We're gonna... And this broke. This broke. Okay, maybe that's for the best. Oh. That scared the shit out of me. I'm gonna have a freaking heart attack. The string broke. Well, that's just fine because I'm never going up there again.
That door leading to the attic? It's the same attic where he's captured strange figures, unexplained bangs, footsteps pacing above his room, and even whispering voices when no one else was home. So when the door creaked open behind him in the middle of his recording, many viewers became convinced it wasn't a coincidence at all, that something up there was inviting him, or trying to get his attention. Others, meanwhile, are eagerly waiting for his book, especially because they know his stories aren't just fiction. A lot of them are based on real events, things he has personally lived through in that house. People are already speculating about which moments he'll write about, and how he managed to cope with everything he's been experiencing. But until Kyle gives an update, or until the release of that book, this remains yet another unsettling moment in a house that refuses to stay quiet. Now, in this next video, a woman named Monica Monge, who works after hours in an office building that's completely empty at night, holidays, and weekends, has been experiencing something she can no longer brush off. One night, while she was doing her usual rounds, this happened.
I'm at work. I'm the only person here. And I'm here. Oh my god, I'm scared. The scary movie says you don't go see what's going on. But what the I'm gonna lose my goddamn shit. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna die.
A voice said, "What are you thinking?" even though she was the only one in the entire building. And then there was the toy she picked up to inspect, thinking maybe it had batteries, but it didn't. It only makes noise if someone physically touches it. Yet in the video, it activates all on its own, as if an invisible hand was playing with it right next to her. This clip has caused a huge debate online. Some people are convinced Monica is dealing with something otherworldly, something intelligent. To them, a voice responding directly to her and a toy working on its own feels far too specific and intentional to dismiss as coincidence. And with the security guards reportedly hearing similar things, many believe whatever's in that office isn't just passing through, it's trying to communicate. But it's hard not to wonder if Monica has become the center of something she was never meant to notice. Until she shares more footage, this case remains a mystery. Now, this next video comes from a woman who recently ended things with her boyfriend, but according to her, the breakup didn't end the story. In fact, she believes it only made things worse. She claims her ex had something dark attached to him, something his family openly acknowledged. And once she heard them speak about it so casually, so normally, that's when she started connecting the dots. All the strange wiring issues in his house, the unexplained noises, the way objects moved on their own. She began to realize these weren't random incidents. They were signs of whatever the family had been living with for years. And then came the night captured in this clip, filmed while she and her ex were separated.
Eso es algo. What?
This wasn't the first time something happened, and definitely not the worst. She later talked about an incident involving his sister. One morning, the sister woke up to find her puppy dead, and every single plant in her house completely withered overnight, and when she herself was still living with her boyfriend, she experienced nights where the entire atmosphere of the house would change. Sharp cold spots appearing out of nowhere, doors creaking open even after she locked them, and shadows moving in corners where there was nowhere for shadows to be. Some nights, she said, it felt like something was walking from room to room, checking on them. And now that she's out of the relationship, she believes whatever was attached to the family has turned its attention toward her. Many call it a jumper, something that doesn't just haunt a single house or a single person, but moves. It attaches itself to whoever comes close enough, feeding off the conflict, the stress, the emotional chaos, and following them even after they leave. Whether it's because she spent years around it, or because it chose her, she doesn't know. But based on this footage and everything she's described, it seems like whatever was haunting that family isn't quite done with her yet. In this next video, two friends were at home, hanging out and playing games when they started noticing strange things. It started in the hallway, something that made both of them glance up from their game even though neither wanted to admit they saw it. Moments later, the chair in their room suddenly moved on its own, and that's when it hit them. Whatever they sensed in the hallway, it didn't stay there. People online are divided about what exactly was happening here. Whatever was in that hallway was watching them, reacting to them, and eventually stepping into the room with them. So, was it something intelligent, or something that simply didn't want to stay in the hallway anymore? You decide. The following footage was recorded on the first floor of West Hill Manor in Burlington County, a location already known for its long history of strange encounters. According to the group investigating the home that night, every single person was on the third floor when this happened. No one was downstairs, no one was even close. Watch closely. If you look toward the doorway on the right, you'll see it, a strange mist drifting across the frame. And then, just seconds later, a loud bang was heard from the third floor. This is where things get interesting. It almost looks like the mist moves upward, as though whatever it was slipped out of the first floor doorway and traveled straight to where the sound happened. Many viewers immediately connected the two events, suggesting that the mist wasn't random environmental interference at all, but an apparition transitioning between floors. Some believe this might be a spirit that's aware of the investigators and is trying to make its presence known by traveling through the house and manipulating its surroundings. But the biggest question remains, was this mist responsible for the bang, or did it go upstairs because of the bang, as though reacting to something else entirely? Either way, the timing is too close to be ignored. Whatever moved through that doorway wasn't supposed to be there, and it definitely wasn't ordinary. I'd love to know what you think about this one. In this next clip, Ruger's mom was lying in bed when the strangest thing happened, something she genuinely couldn't explain later. Take a look at this, and listen closely.
Okay.
Her mom is clearly reaching out into the darkness, waving as if she's responding to someone standing right beside the bed. And if you listen closely, you'll hear a soft voice whispering, "Mama." According to Ruger, that voice sounds exactly like her sister's voice, the sister who passed away back in 2017. This is where the debate really begins. Some viewers believe this was a moment of comforting visitation, that her late sister might have been reaching out, maybe checking on their mother, and the mother somehow sensed her presence. They point out that the mother's reaction seemed gentle, not startled. Others believe this could be something entirely different, something mimicking the sister's voice. Mimics are known for using familiar voices to draw attention or interaction, especially during vulnerable moments like sleep. The way her mom reached out without hesitation makes some people wonder if something wanted her to respond. Then there's the idea of sleep state sensitivity, where people in half-dream, half-awake moments are more open to the supernatural. Some say her mom could have been in a liminal state, aware enough to react, but relaxed enough to perceive things most people wouldn't. But I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now, in this next video, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his deep dive into one of Nebraska's most notoriously haunted locations, the Argo Hotel. And this time, the moment he stepped into one particular room, something sent him running. This wasn't just any room, it's the one rumored to be haunted by the spirit of a woman guests claim likes to brush against people while they sleep, almost as if she's checking whether they're awake, or if they're alone. Even Ian, who has seen more than most of us ever will, couldn't stand the room, but after catching his breath, he went back in.
There is proof that this hotel is ridiculously haunted. Alright, I should at least shut it off, shouldn't I? Don't want to waste the water. Oh god, okay. Don't mind me. Coming in. The freaking beat scared me. I'm sorry, bud. I'm gonna have to cut you off here. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? I am speechless. I don't even know what to say. Other than I'm leaving a freaking camera in here. And I'm getting out of Dodge. That's all I know. Thank you. Alright, so I've got a spirit box here. I'm gonna walk around this whole entire floor and see if I can get any responses.
He spoke calmly, trying to communicate, trying to see if whatever was there would respond. A few moments later, he suddenly began hearing something.
Whoever's responsible for the phantom music in here, I'd love to hear some more of it. Could you place them in this room? Why is that spinning? Wait a minute, that thing wasn't even on. Why is it spinning? What the heck? Dude, this thing is freaking spinning on its own. And you can tell it's not even on because look at it, it's slowing down. Oh, what the heck? That is so freaking bizarre. And now look. It completely stopped. How do you explain that? Like, legit, like what just happened? If this fan was on, it would literally be spinning continuously. And if you look, let's see, are the switches on? Nope, they're both down. So what the heck just happened there? Oh, Jesus Christ. What the hell was that? Dude, this room is crazy active. Those other rooms were completely silent, but this room, not this room. What the heck was that?
Every minute he spends inside this hotel keeps pointing to the same conclusion. This place isn't just haunted, it's active. And whatever's in that room seems more than willing to let him know he isn't alone. For more haunting videos, including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was recorded on the same day Kyle's crawlspace woke him up yet again. For weeks, he'd been hearing strange noises coming from underneath the house. Soft knocks, shuffling, and the kind of slow dragging sounds that make you question whether something living or something else entirely is down there. But this time, the noise was loud enough to pull him straight out of bed. He grabbed a flashlight, went into the crawl space to check, and saw a dark figure standing completely still in the far corner, almost as if it had been waiting for him. Later that night, things escalated. Watch.
What the fuck? Shit. What the fuck? Yo, my house is going crazy tonight. Shit. It's going crazy. This is the crossface thing just happened. It just happened. I'm sure I'm going to be posting that. And now the lights are just going crazy. What the... And my freaking flashlight ain't working. Turn the flash on here. Look at this. Look. What the... Shit.
Kyle has been living in this house for about a year and a half, and the activity has never stayed in one location. It's moved through every part of his home, from the crawl space, to the attic, to the garage, and now even inside the rooms where he sleeps. He's heard children laughing in empty hallways. He's seen objects shift on their own. Many believe the pattern suggests something intelligent, something that isn't tied to a single spot, but instead travels through the home at will. Others think Kyle might be dealing with more than one presence, but the truth is, no one has been able to pinpoint a clear cause for the escalating activity in Kyle's home, and every new clip only makes the situation more unsettling. In this next clip, a couple unknowingly bought a haunted Airbnb, and from the very first day they settled in, it's been one thing after another. Strange noises echoing through the hallways, objects shifting when no one is near them, cold patches moving from room to room, and every now and then the unmistakable sound of footsteps pacing in the basement even though no one lives below. But the moment that really made them start documenting everything happened on October 23rd at around 6:10 p.m. The wife and their dog Vito were downstairs when they both froze at the same time, hearing something moving in the upstairs portion of the Airbnb. Vito ran ahead up the staircase, but the second he reached the top, he flinched hard at something none of them could see. Watch this.
Vito, come on. Come on back, buddy. Come on. Poor buddy.
According to the wife, for weeks now, Vito refuses to go any further than the top of the stairs. And anyone familiar with paranormal cases knows that is never a good sign. Dogs avoid areas that have strong energy signatures, and whatever is upstairs clearly makes him feel unsafe. But you see, while the husband is exhausted, overwhelmed, and constantly on edge from the non-stop disturbances, the wife remains strangely calm. She says it's because this is his first brush with something paranormal, but for her, these things have been happening ever since she lost her mother 10 years ago. She's been on a long spiritual journey since then, visiting mediums, trying different forms of communication, and opening herself to all phases of the paranormal in hopes of feeling her mother's presence again. And that's exactly where a major debate started. Because many people believe this entire haunting might not be tied to the Airbnb at all, but to her. When you open yourself spiritually, especially through mediums, seances, or grief-driven communication, it's widely believed that you also open doors you don't fully understand. And instead of attracting a loved one, you may attract something completely different that simply mimics familiar emotions to get your attention. So now the rumors are beginning to shift away from a haunted Airbnb to a spirit attached to the wife, and the timing lines up disturbingly well. The couple eventually left the Airbnb and moved into a new home, hoping to escape whatever was happening. But it's starting to seem like something followed them there too. Listen closely.
Okay, if you have anything to tell us, we're listening. We heard you. What do you have to say?
She caught this voice on camera as her husband took their dog out for a walk. Some viewers were terrified, urging her not to respond to whatever it was, but according to her, not everything is demonic, and she feels some spirits simply want acknowledgement. She's even taken it upon herself to figure out exactly what's in her home, why it's there, and whether she can help it move on. But here's the part no one can ignore. If this truly began long before the Airbnb, then leaving the house was never going to solve the problem. The attachment might be to her, not the property. Weeks after this video was recorded, the whispering didn't stop. In fact, it became more frequent. Watch this.
So we're open to communication. There's been stuff happening on the property in our other building, and earlier today. So this is the time to talk if you have anything you want to say to us. You're getting tons of orbs.
And it's right where you said, like right here. Are you? See?
Tell us your story. We're open to hear. And we're not judgmental. You can tell us anything.
This time she couldn't clearly make out what it said, so she posted it online. And surprisingly, most viewers heard the same thing. The voice saying Maisie. Every other sound they've caught in that house has been confusing, distorted, or completely unintelligible. But this is the first time a name has come through clearly. Whether Maisie is the entity trying to reach out, a person connected to the wife's past, or something else entirely, they're still trying to figure it out. And they're hoping that one day they'll finally get an answer. Now, in this next video, a hospital worker was assigned to a room that many staff members quietly refer to as the haunted one. Every hospital has that one space, an older room with a heavy history, a place where people feel watched even when they're alone, a place where equipment seems to malfunction more than it should. And for her, this was that room. She said she felt uneasy the moment she stepped inside, so before she began her shift, she decided to test something. She set her camera up in the corner of the room and then walked away for a moment. When she came back to check the footage, this is what she caught. If this had happened in an ordinary house, maybe a bed moving on its own, people might try to explain it away. But this happening in a hospital, that's something people won't overlook. So many souls have groaned, suffered, and passed on in that exact bed. Some believe that the energy of a patient's final moments can cling to the objects around them, and others think someone might still be hanging on to the last moments they spent in this room. And when she shared more details, things only got stranger. This wasn't just any room. It was part of the labor and delivery department, and it was often used for patients in isolation due to severe illness, or patients experiencing IUFD cases where the emotional weight in the room is already overwhelming. She even added that most staff avoid placing anyone here unless they absolutely have to. Some don't even like standing in the doorway for too long. Even after hearing all of this, some people online still doubted the bed moved on its own, so she shared this clip.
Here, I'll plug it. Well, I guess it's plugged over here, but...
The remote was right there on the bed, completely unplugged, not connected to anything. And yet, the bed still lifted and lowered by itself, as if responding to a patient who wasn't physically there anymore. For many viewers who've had their own unsettling experiences in hospitals, this video opened the door for them to share their stories too. The comments were filled with people recalling similar encounters in quiet rooms, empty hallways, or places where life and death intersect every single day. So, if you've ever felt something unexplainable in a hospital, this might be the moment to share your story too. Now, you might recognize this house from previous videos, an old property that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away, leaving the home completely abandoned for years. A ghost hunter and his crew had been investigating the place for weeks, documenting everything from quiet knocks in the hallway to objects shifting on their own. But on this particular night, they noticed something different, something that felt restless. For the first few hours, everything stayed relatively calm. A curtain swayed, a picture frame tilted, nothing too threatening, just the kind of subtle activity that makes investigators believe a spirit is simply trying to communicate. but that sense of calm didn't last. According to them, the longer they stayed, the more they felt like whatever was in that house had started to grow uncomfortable with their presence. Watch this.
Băi, dăm ciuta. Băi, lasă-vă prostile, nu mai te plimbi. Băi, mă plimb în jurul tău. Dă-mă ciuta, lasă, dă ciuta omului. Te plimbi acum. Băi, mă duc să văd o leacă ce are. Băi, eu intru să... Ce are scris pe ea, poate are scris pe ea 1743, că nebunesc. Da, bule. Băi, oprește-ți, iau ciuta aia. N-a futuz nația, mătii. Na, dă-l jos. Dă-l jos, futuz rasa, mătii, na. Ia că ți-am luat ciuta, uite-o. Alin, pune-i mâncat așa, era acolo. Hai! Na, ciuta, sărăcio, ho, oprește-te! Mâncați-aș pula ta. Doamne ferească, Dumnezeu! De la ciută? Na, bă, mă, paranormal. Măi, de la ciută faci așa? Na, mă, ia la spânzuri cu ciuta aia, tragă în gura ta. Foarte bine. Ai pus-o invers, mai cu ciuta cu capul încolo, ai pus-o? A fost scoasă din poză. Ce-a făcut? Da. Am lipit-o și nu se mai poate deslipi. Da, leagă-te la cap cu ea, dar ce nervi așa pe tine, mă, fată? Ai pus ciuta cu capul încolo, băi. Spui acum cine dă. Fai de pula mea. Dar păi noi trebuie să mai râdim ca să nu ne căcăm pe noi. Am uitat să mă uit de subte. Hai că vin! Da, bune, am uitat să mă uit, mă, de... Ia uite, măi, na. Vezi că tu, mă, te poți să faci cât vrei. Băi, pune. Dă-i tare, du-te, tragă în gura ta. Nu, în jur, băi, ce-o... Că nu-i de aur. Na. Na.
Each time they reached out to pick something up from the table, no matter what it was, the objects began vibrating violently until they dropped them, almost as if the spirit was saying, "Don't touch my things." Still, the investigators didn't leave. They believed the spirit wasn't trying to harm them, only protective, territorial, and clearly aware of everything they were doing. So they decided to do a full sweep of the house, hoping to capture more evidence of what they were dealing with.
Să ne arunci prin grinzele astea, să ne rupă capul și la revedere. N-auziți mărit? Măr! Dă-te, mă-mi ba pula, mă, să gata, băi, hai, divă, să închideți, plecăm acasă, mă. Măr. Lasă-mă dracu în pace. Am zis măr, măi, la mișto am zis. Doamne ferească, Dumnezeu. Reptilian, măi, ce ăsta? Tactilograf. Telegraf.
Every room they walked into seemed to respond to them, and the deeper they moved into the house, the more intense the activity became, like the spirit's patience was wearing thin.
Uite, mă, MF-ul ăla nu mai face nimic, nu se mai... Măr. Uite, și suntem cu telefonul la 2 metri de el. Moartea în spectacol. Ia, moartea în spectacol. Mișcă la, da, asta o leagă. M-am murit în război. Dă-te MF-ul jos, mă până în jos.
Abandonat.
Că m-am zis de MF că nu se mișcă, că nu s-a prins nicio lumină, l-a dat de tot jos. Măr!
De ce ai venit?
Nu vomite, ce faci, mă, frate? Să sugrumul, măi, cum așa face, cred că omul când se spânzură, dar cred că ăsta-i somnul. Eu n-am auzit odată.
That moment finally gave them a little more insight. Whoever, or whatever, was still roaming this house belonged to someone who had suffered during the war. Some viewers believe it might be tied to the former homeowner who reportedly lost a loved one overseas. Others think it could be a residual imprint, a fragment of a soldier who once stayed there during troop movements decades ago. But until the team returns with more answers or clearer evidence, the true identity of the spirit still remains a mystery. This footage dates back to August 2025 and was captured by a security camera inside a family home. A woman who's been fighting a slow, exhausting mystery within her own walls. One that didn't begin with terror, but with small things that felt off. At first, it was easy to ignore. Toys would turn up in strange places, nowhere near where her child left them. Doors she distinctly remembers locking the night before would be standing open by morning, but what unsettled her most was something harder to explain. Every now and then, the house would suddenly fill with a smell, sharp, sterile, like medicine, or cold metal, with no source she could identify. For nearly 3 years, she tried to approach it rationally, but nothing stopped the feeling that something wasn't right. Eventually, she installed security cameras throughout the house and began checking the footage whenever she could. On August 23rd, 2025, the cameras finally captured something she wasn't prepared for. The first clip was recorded while her young son was asleep and she was taking a bath. The second clip is even stranger. It was early in the morning, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice that she enters the frame from the opposite direction the figure had just been moving, meaning whatever appears on camera wasn't following her. It was already there. She's hoping someone could help debunk it or point her toward a real explanation. So, what do you think? The following video was captured by CCTV inside a hospital, a place that never truly sleeps. Even late at night, the halls are filled with quiet movement. Nurses checking vitals, machines humming softly, families drifting in and out of wards. But on this particular night, something else may have been moving too. You can see what appears to be the figure of a small child, standing completely still. It doesn't move toward anyone, it doesn't react, it simply stands there, as if waiting. Moments later, the parents of one of the patients walk directly through the figure, and they clearly have no idea anything unusual just happened. Hospitals are often described as some of the most active locations when it comes to unexplained encounters. They're places where fear, grief, hope, and loss all exist at the same time, and many believe that kind of emotional weight leaves something behind. So, was this just a trick of shadows and lighting, or did the camera capture something most people walk past every day, without ever knowing it's there? This footage dates back to 2018 and was captured by a security camera inside a manned store. The store itself is an open-air garage with nearly 20-foot high ceilings, wide open space, and clear sight lines, the kind of place where movement is hard to miss. That afternoon, the owner was alone in his store when this happened. Out of nowhere, his sunglasses drop to the floor. At first glance, it might seem harmless. Maybe they fell off a shelf or were knocked over. But when he reviewed the CCTV footage, he he realized something terrifying. No one walked in, nothing passed by, there was no gust of wind, no vibration, and no visible cause. The sunglasses didn't slide or tip over, it flew, as if it had been thrown. Many suggest the possibility of an unseen presence interacting with the environment, something strong enough to move a physical object, yet invisible to the camera. And in a wide open space like this, with nowhere to hide, that possibility becomes even harder to ignore. What do you think happened here? A freak accident, or something watching him work, waiting for the moment to make itself known? You be the judge. In this next video, a man who owns a Mexican seafood restaurant began noticing strange, almost unexplainable movements inside his business. At first, it was easy to brush them off. Small things that could be blamed on long hours, exhaustion, or simple coincidence. Glasses weren't where they were left. Items behind the bar seemed slightly out of place. And sometimes there was the unsettling feeling that something had moved when no one was nearby. At first, he didn't think much of it, but that changed once the security cameras started catching things he just couldn't understand. In the first video, the man is about to serve a drink, and if you look closely at the tray, one of the shot glasses suddenly moves on its own. He notices it, pauses for a moment, then brushes it off, assuming he imagined it. But the activity didn't stop there. Another clip shows one of the bartenders holding a bottle when, without warning, the neck of the bottle snaps clean off in his hand. Then comes another piece of footage. A bottle shifting on its own, sliding without anyone touching it. At this point, some might argue it only happens during busy working hours. Vibrations, movement, people nearby. But the most unsettling moment comes later, when the restaurant is completely closed. The security camera records creepy audio, faint whispers, low voices, sounds that shouldn't be there when the place is empty. Now the staff can't help but wonder whether these are just a series of bizarre coincidences, or signs that something else may be sharing their restaurant with them. Is it too early to call it haunted, or is this exactly the moment they should start paying closer attention and looking for answers? A woman named Mel and her family had just left their house for a quiet weekend getaway when her phone suddenly buzzed with a Ring camera notification, one that shocked the living daylight out of her. Watch this. On the footage, something or someone opens the front door, allowing her dogs to walk outside freely. What makes this unsettling is that when Mel checked the indoor cameras, there was no one visible inside the house. The door simply opens. Imagine being miles away from a home you're certain you locked, only to watch it open on its own. At that moment, Mel's biggest concern wasn't even the door, it was her dogs. She immediately called her neighbors and asked them to help. Thankfully, they were able to get the dogs safely back inside. Needless to say, that weekend getaway ended right there. This terrifying footage was captured by a nearby house security camera. A guy had just arrived at his mom's place and stepped out of his car to offload a few things, but the camera caught something he didn't notice at the time. You'll see what looks like a human figure walking slowly out of the woods. At first glance, it's easy to miss, but as the figure approaches the car, it suddenly bows down and then drops straight out of sight, disappearing completely. That's where the speculation begins. People say this could be a phantom person, a phenomenon many believe isn't a myth at all, but something that's been reported for centuries. Stories describe these figures as appearing briefly, often near roads, trees, or homes, only to vanish in ways that don't match human movement. Some say phantom people aren't spirits in the traditional sense, but residual figures, moments caught between time, replaying fragments of something that once happened there. So what do you think? A coincidence caught at the wrong moment, or something ancient and very real stepping briefly into view? This footage dates back to 2017, when a woman was simply trying to get some work done, but whatever was in the room with her clearly wasn't ready to let her focus. At first, the security camera captures something subtle. The chair shifts slightly. It's easy to dismiss. Chairs move sometimes, but then it slides farther than it should, before slowly drifting back into place, almost carefully. And when that didn't get her attention, whatever was there escalated. An object close to her, a bottle on the table, suddenly tips over and falls. That finally makes her react. She looks up, clearly confused, trying to make sense of what just happened. But it doesn't stop there. Moments later, her own chair is pulled backward, forcefully enough to break the illusion of coincidence entirely. This wasn't something falling, this wasn't gravity, this was interaction. And here's the detail that unsettles many viewers the most. If you increase the brightness of the footage, you can see what appears to be a faint silhouette moving backward in sync with the chair, as if something unseen is physically pulling it away from her. So here's the question that stays with viewers long after the clip ends. Was this something trying to frighten her, or something that had been there all along, finally making sure she noticed? You decide. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera inside a local store late at night, long after the doors had been locked and everyone had gone home. Almost immediately, the internet split into debate. Some say it's nothing more than a draft, a random gust of air moving the toy across the floor. But skeptics were quick to point out how unlikely that explanation is. The toy doesn't slide or tip over. It rolls smoothly, almost as if it's being guided. Others suggested the toy had been left switched on, and that a faulty motor caused it to move on its own. On paper, that sounds reasonable. But here's where the explanation starts to fall apart. According to the store owner, the toy hadn't been touched for hours, and the store was completely empty at the time. What unsettled many viewers even more was the way the wheels moved. Several people slowed the footage down frame by frame, pointing out that the motion didn't look random or jerky. It looked controlled, like someone was pushing it just enough to make it roll. Locals familiar with the store claim strange things have been happening there for years, items falling from shelves when no one is nearby, and faint footsteps heard after closing hours. So, what do you think? Was this nothing more than physics and a malfunctioning toy? Or did the security camera accidentally capture something unseen, quietly passing the time, playing with a toy when it thought no one was watching? This footage was captured by a security camera installed in a basement. One evening, the homeowner went downstairs to grab a few things when he got distracted by a message on his phone. He sat down, unaware that the camera behind him was recording something he wouldn't notice until much later. Out of nowhere, the calendar is ripped off the wall. 2 pages tear clean through as it comes down, and when he checked the wall afterward, the nail was still firmly in place. Even stranger, when he picked the calendar back up and tried to hang it again, the hole lined up perfectly with the nail, meaning the paper didn't stretch, tear open, or rip downward the way it normally would if gravity alone caused it to fall. Some viewers pointed out the dog's reaction, or lack of one. Instead of barking or panicking, the dog simply moves away, as if giving space to something it sensed but didn't want to confront. What do you think? A man's brother came to stay over for a few days, and just a few hours after settling into the house, he had the feeling someone was shifting the bed in the guest room. He brushed it off, but as the night went on, the details stopped adding up. Eventually, the man decided to go back through the family's CCTV footage to see if anything unusual had been captured. Something was moving. But here's the problem. This is at least a queen-size bed, and his brother's wife is noticeably shorter, and from her sleeping position, her legs shouldn't even reach that far. Yet in the footage, her left leg flicks sharply and unnaturally, far faster and farther than would be possible for someone side sleeping in that position. So is something sharing the bed with them? You be the judge. This mysterious video was posted on Reddit, and ever since, people have gone into overdrive trying to analyze what they're seeing. While a family was out for the evening, with no one left behind in the house, their security camera captured something completely horrifying. What appears in the footage looks disturbingly like a small child walking through the house. When the family received a motion alert and checked the footage, they were immediately shaken. There were no children in the home and no pets. When they returned, still trying to rationalize what they'd seen, they reached out to the previous owners to ask if they had ever experienced anything strange while living there. That's when things got worse. The former occupants responded by sending their own video, footage from their Ring camera showing multiple orbs drifting around the property at night. They admitted they'd always felt like something was in the house with them. Then came another disturbing detail. The previous owners said their time in the house was marked by constant arguments, tension that seemed to come out of nowhere. Eventually, their marriage collapsed and they divorced, selling the house shortly after. Sadly, at the time this ghost child video was posted, the new owners were also in the middle of a divorce. And just like before, the house had gone back on the market. Different families, same house, same feeling, same ending. So is this just an unsettling coincidence? Or is there something about that house that doesn't let families stay whole? You decide.